from Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls, and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. To form the Deanest Nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in disguise. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. To reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan out as crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, he's a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that the was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined where what's next. Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right. Here I am, and there you are, Under the Groove Podcast, man. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday, hump day. May your day have been everything you set out for it to be, man. Put that work in. That work is important. That work is important. We can't say that enough, especially dealing with what we're dealing with in the world today, you know. So you got to stay on that grind, you know. That's the job. That's job one, man, making sure you, self, is getting it done, you know, and staying focused on the focus. Otherwise, you get caught up in this shit, man. The Matrix is a B. It's a B, man. I'm trying to get my thing together right here. Anyway, here we are. Like I said, man, today is Wednesday. And the question I want to ask is, or the statement I want to make is, this is what has happened to our community. And then with that, I'm going to drop something for us, man. You know, I'm going to take us through these, you know, these clips, man. Everyone going to have a message, you know, it's going to signify something in regards to what's going on in our communities, what's going on with us. Let's be more specific. What's going on with us, you know? That's some serious stuff, man. You know, I'm going to tell you what the trip is. And this from my perspective, you know, we have this, there's infinite information, right? But zero wisdom. Infinite information, man, on whatever, but mostly regarding or concerning us, you know, Black people. Infinite. And yet we have zero wisdom. What does that say? What does that say? What does that mean to any of you? You know, I find that, man, to be a harsh reality. I think that's the reality. We, man, each and every one of us know what we know. We know so damn much, man. We don't know enough. You know what I mean? Man, shit, right? But as a result, or us knowing what we know everything, right? It's as if we extracted no wisdom from this shit, man. None, no wisdom whatsoever. You know? What does that say about us? What does that say about us? You know, I think that we have a habit. Again, this is what we do, and we have to acknowledge this also to a certain point. We tend to blame other people. We do, you know, we do. I mean, the reality is some shit was done to us, some traumatic things. And not that they were done, they are being done to us to this day. So it hasn't stopped. You know, the trauma continues. I get it. But with that knowledge that these things have been done to us or being done to us, we've extracted little wisdom from it, and wisdom in terms of how to combat it, how to deal with it, how to rid ourselves of it. That speaks volumes, man. You know, that speaks volumes. Infinite information, infinite, man, and zero wisdom. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know how to call that. I just know that. No, man, I don't know. It's happening that we're living in that. You know what I mean? Now, that being said, like I said, I got some things I want to drop on us, man. And hopefully we can get into it. And then again, you know, as always, put your thoughts. Put your thoughts in the comments. You know, let's have a discussion about this, man. All right. Right quick, I'm gonna jump into this, man. Right quick. I see Anthony Tibbs back, man. All love and respect, bro. Peace and prosperity to you and the fam. Good to see you back amongst us. All right. You said, man, I've been MIA, bub. Grand rising to the RGC. Right back to you, bro. You know, right back to you. It's good to see you here. That means you all right. You're here. You're here. You know what I mean? That matters. You said, I've been needing the jewels and gems, man. Hey, man, it's stuffed in pockets. But see, now this is what we're talking about. We have infinite information. We pick up jewels and gems all day, every day. That's what we do, right? We're not cashing them in, man. You know, we're not using the value of them to our benefit. Put it like that. All right. We're just not. We're not using the value of these gems and these jewels, man, that are being dispensed amongst us, you know, being given to us to our advantage. You know, and again, where's the wisdom in that, right? Where's the wisdom in that? We can't label that wisdom. I mean, we have the information, how we don't know how to apply it. We're not wise enough to use it to our benefit. That speaks volumes, man. That speaks volumes, you know. And that's not a gem or a jewel. That's reality, you know. That's how I want to, you know, impart that. You know, let's look at our reality. Let's look at what we're actually doing or what we aren't doing with all this information, this knowledge, man. Brothers, man, I'm telling you, sisters are so fucking intelligent. But to what end? You know? I mean, what's the purpose? You know, gathering, acquiring this information for what? So we could just regurgitate it back to one another? You know? We have this information, storage of it in our brains. It comes with our DNA, you know what I mean? And we ain't using it to benefit. Something's wrong with that. Something is definitely wrong with that. You know, so I don't know. For me, the thought comes up then, are we that brainwashed? Or that we're so indoctrinated with BS that, you know, we can't even get to the real in terms of, okay, we know this to be the case. It is so real, you know, in each and every one of our lives that we don't even know how to use it to our benefit. Now, how real is it? How real is any of this if we're not utilizing it? You know, that's the thing, man. For me, that's the thing. Yeah, let me jump into this though right quick. Okay, I was waiting for something to come up. It didn't come up. I find it very interesting. I want to add to, you know, the lineup, man. It didn't show up, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna drop this though, man. We're gonna go on and get into this thing. I see you up in here though, Anthony Tibbs. Appreciate you, bro. B60, I see you, bro. Greetings and salutations to you, bub, and RGC B1. You know, for those who are listening, black first. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. Let's utilize that knowledge, man, of blackness to our benefit. You know, that information, let's be wise about it by utilizing it to our benefit. All right. I want to drop this. I want to see which one I want to drop first. This is pretty tight. I found this to be very insightful, enlightening. Most of us may know this. And again, we ain't done nothing with the knowledge or the information of it, right? But I want to drop this right quick. And again, hey, let's We're gonna go along. Tell me what you think in the comments. Have a little discussion about it and go to the next one. I got about 6 of them. I'm waiting on another one to drop right now. There'll be 7, but 6 of them for sure. Let's get into this, man. This is what's happened to our community. All right. Now, there's that. The community is suffering, no doubt about it. Can nobody deny that, man? But again, with all this information, we have zero wisdom. Enough said. Let's move on, man. Wait a minute. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. All right. Let's drop this thing, man. Let me bring it in.
Thank you. In the back.
What is it that I saw? I see maybe change my perspective. So the person of color in the United States, Jim Crow era, faced disenfranchisement, set citizenship, barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, and barriers to housing.
Barriers to healthcare. Okay, I'm mentioning the problem here, man. What the that shit? Double check shit. But it happened. Oh. Ain't cool. That real problem here.
What is the only label that we can legally discriminate against, that we can legally disenfranchise, relegate to second-class citizenship, have barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, barriers to housing? If you guessed right, in 2021, convicted felons are the only people we are allowed to legally disenfranchise. Now, do you believe it's a coincidence that 1 in 3 African-American males now carry this label of convicted felon, as opposed to 1 in 17 white males that carry this label of convicted felon to legally be disenfranchised? If you answered yes to that question, let's look at what's happened between the Jim Crow era and 2021. We've had a 700% increase in our United States prison population. We've gone from 300,000 inmates in 1970 to 1.8 million today, and as high as 2.3 million. So in spite of crime rate dropping, our prison population skyrocketed. And it was because we had the law and order agenda. And the law and order agenda increased police spending, but decreased our education funding. And by doing so, we created the school to prison pipeline. We also created the war on drugs, which we now know is a war on people. In
Reagan, Bush, and Clinton.
1986, we passed the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, which differentiated between powder cocaine and hard cocaine, which we now know disproportionately impacted people of color. We also had the 94 crime bill with the Truth in Sentencing Act, which led to higher incarceration rates and harsher sentences for people of color.
3 strikes law.
And once I saw all this, my perspective changed, because I know that Jim Crow era never ended. Racism never ended. It just evolved.
Perfect lesson.
All right.
I love it. Thank you. Say it loud.
All right. I might want to run that back because I had a couple of issues right there, man, with the Wi-Fi. I don't know what that was, but the context is, man, we still in this situation, man. Period, point blank. You know,
Louder for those in the back.
Board up right quick.
So a lot of people are.
We're still in this situation, man. Oh shit.
Perfect lesson. I love it. Thank you. Say it louder for those in the back.
So a lot.
Okay, we're still in that situation, the Jim Crow era. Period, point blank. So we see disenfranchisement taking place again in the southern states, man. In terms of what they just did about the 6-5 Voting Rights Act. That's back in, it's up and running. We have, that's a barrier to voting. All right. That's disenfranchised. That's Jim Crow. Education. Can nobody dispute that? Education sucks. They're not educating us, man, to, incorporate in us knowledge that we can actually use to better our lives, our station, our environment. No, they're educating us to be workers, right? There's that. There that is employment. We've seen what they've done in terms of employment in those areas where majority are black. They moved out all those good factory jobs, man. I remember growing up, man. Again, black fathers work and work damn good. You worked all week long. Saturday, Friday, Saturday, a little bit of Sunday, they party. All right, but they work Monday through Saturday, shit, and good jobs. Took care of the families, this and third. Government comes in and shut all that down. Moved all those businesses, those corporations, those factories, all that out of the community, away from the community, into white areas, gave them jobs to them. So that affected employment. What came behind that? Welfare. They really pushed that welfare on the black woman. And in doing so, they said, okay, only way you can get this is to remove the black man. They did that. That occurred. That happened. But there was employment. That's how they attacked us. In terms of employment, that's how they attacked us. They removed jobs. Even brothers who had college degrees, who had education and skills, found it difficult to have gainful or find gainful employment. You know what I mean? It was that rough. I came up in that era. I remember. I don't forget none of that shit. And then there's the barrier to housing. We already know about the redlining. We already know how the banks refused to loan black couples, families money to buy a home. They didn't want it. They didn't want it. When we came up in LA, South Central on Hoover Street, there were still white people there, in those homes. They were moving out though. You know what I mean? I think that is as a result of, blacks, finding some way other than, having to get a loan from a bank to, accumulate these funds, get this money and buy a home in those areas, across Central, all the way back, where whites lived. And that's how it was done. But in terms of the government told the banks, don't give black families loans to buy homes. That's a fact. All right. So yeah, those were Jim Crow era regulations, ways of doing things. So we were affected, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And when that wasn't working, then they brought in the other game plan, the prison industrial complex. Then they brought in drugs, Shit's easy to call, man. Easy to call. So that is. That's that first thing. That's what happened. That is what happened in our communities initially. Now, knowing what we know, and we know this, man, we know this shit. The information is there for even for those who didn't live through it. The information is there to acquire, the understanding of what happened, to comprehend what went on. Most of us do that. We acquire this knowledge, this understanding. However, we don't utilize it. We don't utilize it. In other words, we haven't been wise enough to make it work for us. We have all the capacity, man, to absorb this information, but none of the capacity, man, to utilize it to our benefit. So that's why I say, man, infinite information, yet zero wisdom. Again, though, we can only blame people so far. It only goes so far. At some point, we have to be accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable for the situation we're in. We can't keep pointing our fingers, and if we're going to play the victim, play it to where it benefits us. We haven't even done that. I was saying last week about how the little black hat people, they use victimization. They've used victimization, the lie they tell about that situation over there, in Eastern Europe, to their benefit. They run the world now. They run the world. And they're doing it claiming to be us, the chosen ones. Come on, man. Now, if that's not wisdom, I don't know what to call it. We have the same information. We just haven't applied it, you know. So there that is. Now the next one. Well, before I get into that, man, come on, man. What do y'all think about that? Does that graph that this white guy, he said it changed his whole perspective about racism or white supremacy. In other words, he said, man, oh God, this is atrocious. This is wrong. I see what they're saying now. Black people. He gets it, like a lot of them do. You know, now whether or not they act on it is another thing. But yeah, how's that any different from us? We get it. We see what's happening. We haven't utilized none of the information, man, to our benefit. All right. So yeah, man. You know, hey, we got to stop playing. We're playing, man. And this ain't the time for it. This is not the time for it, man. I sit and I go through shit, man. I'm telling you guys, man, I'm at this stage, man, where something is happening. Something's changing, you know what I mean, within me. Spiritually, I feel it. I know it is, you know. And as a result of that, something's telling me inherently, my spirit, you know, those who are tied to it from way back when, saying, we don't got a lot of time, man. We must act. We have to act. And we have to act soon. We got to quit playing. We got to quit using all these excuses and these distractions as a means to keep us separated. The only way we're going to overcome this situation is if we do it together. That's it, man. That's it. It's it, you know. But let's see what the comments say, man. All right, Chris, I see you up in here. Black first, brother. Peace and prosperity. I see you. Kimberly Mitchell in the house. She said, Hoover, hey, real ones. I'm here working right now, but staying tuned in. Listen, learn. God bless y'all. Take care of each other. There you go. Appreciate you, Queen Sister. All right. Raymond Skull 102, man, out of the rays. Say, hey, listen, man, what it do, bub? Peace and blessings to you, your family, and to the RGC. B1 equals black first. No doubt about that, bro. Good to see you here as well. Sam Evans, man, what's happening with it, bro? He said, man, wage slaves. And that's another thing, bro. Appreciate you saying that. We don't even realize we're still slaves. It's more subtle now, of course. You know, ain't nobody cracking a whip. Not physically, you know, but that whip is being cracked metaphorically. It's being cracked. Trust me. It's in how the job is ran, you know, how you must be there on time, no sick day, you know. Anything short of that, man, what? Find yourself, you know, in an unemployment line, getting unemployment or whatever the case may be, looking for another job. They cracking it. It's just done a little subtly now. It's a little more subtle, you know, but we are that. We are slaves. We are slaves for the super rich, the 1%, the corporations that run the world. That's what it is, man. We feed their machine. That's it. Yeah, that's it. We feed the machine, man. Appreciate that comment, though, right there, Sam Evans. Lisa Moore say, brother Bub, blessings to you, King, peace, and love to the kings and queens in the RGC. B1 is black first, y'all. This is what we got to get to, man. All right, Fat Rat, I see you, Playboy. Peace to you and RGC, Big Bub. Right back to you, Fat Rat. Peace to you and the loved ones, bro. And the loved ones. Sam Evans said, man, we're like the Walking Dead. Yeah, we're zombies in a way. Yeah, we're zombies, you know. But again, now in terms of this clip, man, again, we are actually experiencing Jim Crow. Whether or not we admit it, all we have to do is look at the signs and stop using these all the time. Use this sometime. You know, it's another way, or it's another mechanism, so to speak, to remove yourself from the matrix. You know, when you start using that one, that third eye. But, you know, a lot of us won't acknowledge that, hey, man, we're still slaves and we are existing in a Jim Crow-like era. There's no denying that, man. I don't care, man. I don't care about how much money any of us say one of us or some of us have. It doesn't matter. They're just in a different location. They're in the house. They're in the house. while we were in the field. Same thing, man. I don't care how they paint it. You know, I don't care how much a bag they chasing or whatever that phrase or that excuse they use. Fact of the matter is, we are slaves. We exist in a Jim Crow-like era. That's the reality, man. That is the reality. You know, the drug game has evolved, you know, and they call it a trap for a reason. We all know this. The prison industry complex has changed. Look at it, man, that shit is worse. You know, our youth are in there now more than ever. You know, education is worse. Housing is worse. Employment is worse. Healthcare is worse. You know, economics for us are worse, though we find a way, right? But yeah, man, come on. We're in that get down. Now, the second one, man, let me get rid of this one right quick. This second one, man, I found it interesting as well. Let me see what this is. Hold on. I moved that one, didn't I? Yeah. This one's deep. I like this one. Yeah. So I want to drop this one, man, and check this one out. All right. Any more comments up in here? All right, Queen Nzinga, she say happy hump day, RGC B1 Black first. Appreciate that, Queen. Hope that your day is all right. You're enjoying family and, you know, just taking in, you know, what it is before you. All right. Now, check this out. Check this one out. Uh-oh.
And hundreds of thousands on a home that we barely get to step foot in because the hours we work to pay for it keeps us away from it. Where we buy a car just to drive it to a job that barely pays enough to keep the gas tank full. Where our healthcare system will bankrupt you faster than the illness can kill you. We're getting sick is the business motto and the cure is priced like a luxury. Welcome to America, where the food is fake, the water's tainted, and the air we breathe is up for sale. Where the richest 1% own more than the bottom half combined, and they still tell us to work harder. Where we chase the American dream only to find out it was designed to stay out of reach. And every time we get close to the finish line, they just inch it a little further back. Where school doesn't teach you how to live, just how to obey, comply, and clock in. Where education comes with a lifetime of debt and the diploma is nothing more than a receipt for money that you ain't never gonna see again. Welcome to America. Where we pay taxes to keep the lights on in government buildings we ain't never even allowed to enter. Where your rights are written in pencil and erased when it's inconvenient. Where justice depends on your income and the law bends to the highest bidder. Welcome to America, where they tell you if you don't like it, then leave, without realizing we had ties to this land before there was even an America. Where your labor is valued, but your life is disposable. Welcome to America. Where mental health is a crisis, but therapy is a luxury that most can't even afford. Where they sell you fast fashion, fast food, and the fast entertainment to keep you distracted from the slow theft of your soul and your spirit. Where the news is scripted, the truth is filtered, and history is rewritten to protect the guilty. Welcome to America. Where the people who run this country don't live like the people who keep it running. Welcome to America. Where survival is success. Where we've been trained to call this living, but in reality, we barely breathing. Welcome to America. Welcome to America, where we work to live and live to work, where we spend hundreds of thousands on a home that we barely get.
Okay. Yeah, man. This is our reality. This is our reality. And that's only because we accept it to be so. We allow this. This is our reality. You know, we want to know what happened to the community. Shit, man. We participated in this system, man, this program. That's what's wrong with the community. That's what happened. You know? That's exactly what happened. You know, we are in a bad state. And again, man, we can't continue to blame other people for this condition that we're in. You know, we understand where it comes from. We understand the root causes of it. We got that part. But come on, man. We've allowed this tree to grow, man. We've allowed this thing to exist by participating with it, by watering it. You know, nurturing it, you know, picking the fruits from the tree, man, and consuming that shit. This is our fault. We don't want to know what happened to the community, man. Shit, we gave up. We gave up. We quick to call others sellouts when we won't even acknowledge, ourselves, man, the roles we play, the selling out we do every day. Every day. The majority of us today sell out every day, man. Selling out the future. Those coming up behind us, man, Yeah. This is what's wrong with the community, And again, we got to stop pointing our fingers at other people. At some point, we have to take accountability. When is that going to happen? We got to stop talking about this stuff, man, and get with it. And get with the program. All right, that was that. I got another. Let me see. Oh, yeah, this is beautiful. Now, this is what we're supposed to be doing in every state in the union. Especially black folk, man. Especially black folk. I'm going to get to that. Let's see if y'all want to jump in there. You got something to say. Where you at, Fat Rat? Come on now. Love to hear from you, bro. Chris said, man, as a whole, and for the most part, black people are peaceful people, and we look to go along. And we look to go along with the flow and not cause problems. Hey, man, well, if that's the case, we got to stop being nice, man, because it's not benefiting us. It's not benefiting us, man. We got to stop being nice, man. I looked at something today. I hope I still got it. Yeah, I still have it. Shit. Fuck. Oh, man. I had that thing. What happened to it? Shit. Not good. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. They're supposed to be able to go back and get it. No. Bad business. I lost a piece I had, y'all, and it was tight. It was dope. But anyway, it's in regard to what I want to talk about now, man. In terms of our responsibilities to deal with some shit. Chris say, man, as a whole, for the most part, black people are peaceful people. All right. And we look to go along or to get along or to go along with the flow and not cause problems. That's the problem. That's the problem, especially when we know, again, man, infinite information. When has getting along ever stopped the abuse from them? The oppression, the lynching, the rape, the murder. When? The burning down and tearing down the whole communities, man. When has getting along ever brought that about? And I say, man, damn that. It's time to stop wanting to get along. I'm telling you, man, it's like we got so much, man, that we can't even think straight. We can't even utilize the information we have for our betterment. Damn getting along. Rodney King said that shit after he got his ass beat. Then years later, they took him out, man, straight up. Shit. Went there and drowned him in his pool. Can we get along? Getting along, man, black people, that's our problem. We want to get along. We don't want to recognize that, man, these people, that ain't part of their script. They've never gotten along with people of color. Ever. Come on, man, we got to stop thinking like this. And if we know that we have a certain characteristic or trait that's detrimental to us, man, by all means, we're supposed to discard that. Get rid of that mindset. Replace it with one, that's going to be more protective. More, hey, man, straight to the point about no nonsense. That FO type of mentality. Hey, man. That's the thing, man. That's what we have to do. But Chris, I'm gonna finish the whole thing. Chris say, as a whole, for the most part, black people are peaceful people, and we look to go along with flow and not cause problems. That's how we were able to be enslaved. It's because we wanted to be, or we have a good spirit. It's where we wanted to be, and we have a good spirit. Yeah, man, we got to get over that shit, though. Shit. There you go, bro. I hear you, Fat Rat. You said, Bub, I'm working on my home. Nothing like possessing that deed. I just purchased enough land to feed my street, man. Next step, local farming. I do nation building every day, man. The program is written and finish that one, bro. Now that is an accomplishment. That's something. That's at work. That's a brother at work right there. Working on the home. Ain't nothing like possessing the deed. You ain't never lied. You never lied, man. You never lied. Truth to power right there, bro. And we got to get to that point where we're growing fruits and vegetables around this, these parts. That's what we got. We got to, start feeding ourselves. The wife and I talk about it quite often. And I'm just trying to figure out the landscape, how to go about doing that, because that's something I think is more than necessary. I think that's required. To have property is one thing, but to have or to be self-sufficient on that property, that's something else, man. That's stepping or headed in, the right direction. That's going towards autonomy, independence, being self-sufficient. Ain't nothing like that. Appreciate reading that, Fat Rat. Yep. Appreciate that. Desmond Chapman says, salute, Bub, and salute to the whole RGC. Good to see you back up in here, Desmond. Good to see you back up in here, bro. Peace and prosperity to you and yours, bro. All right, Vanal. Vanal is back. Another good look. I think that's Vanal Quinine. I think it's going to take harsh reality and unheard of consequences for black folks to end that jealousy. Hey. All right, Fat Rat said, let me finish that sentence. You say the program is written and we have to simplify the matters that seem complex and teach the simplicity of separation. All right. There you go. There you go. Yeah, man. Ain't nothing like that, though. That deed, they have an acreage. Got to get it, man. Got to get it. All right, we're going to drop this next one, man, because like I say, this is what should be happening in all the states of this union where black folk exist, or they ain't got to be the majority, just their presence there. This is what should be going on. We're talking about unity, man. Fat Rat, right quick, though, Fat Rat said, we have literally exhausted our remedies. We have literally exhausted our remedies with integration. And we know, again, that's that information that we know, man, we have about integration. Boy, it was a cold ploy. It was a cold ploy. And it worked. It's been working. That, to this day, it shocks me to hear black people talk about integration as though it was a good thing. To this day, 2026, we still got our people talking about integration being a blessing or, a good thing, benefit. Again, I've yet to see it, but okay. Let's drop this other clip, y'all. Now check this out. It says the OGs and the YGs unite in Detroit's most infamous neighborhoods. Is this the solution to crime, black power, and unity? Ye am great. Okay, let's play this. Hold on, damn it. Oh, shit. My bad, y'all. Let me get up in there. All power in the man. Man, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Got to love it. I can't wait for that day around these parts. Shit. Man, can't wait for it. No, get your thoughts on that, right? Drop them in the comments, man. Sam Evans said, man, your boy Chud got shot yesterday. If you haven't heard, yeah, I checked it out today. Supposedly he shot a brother and the brother shot him back, man. That's what they say, you know. Again, I stand on what I said, man. That shit shouldn't have never even got that far, man. You know, should have never got that far, man. You know, and again, that just it's a bad, it sets a bad precedent, and it looks bad on us, you know, for it to have gotten that far. You know, this dude was going viral, you know, and everybody and their daddy didn't heard about this cracker, you know, so. You know, he got what he deserved. Probably not all of it. You know, I don't feel nothing for him. You know, real spit. Raymond Scholes said, man, one thing that concerns me is our failing to fight as our great leaders did, who stood on the front line, advocating and sacrificing their lives for us today. Where's that spirit? Right. Where's that spirit? Where's that fight? I hear you, bro. Desmond said, man, intervention was the worst thing. Integration is one of the worst things we've done as a people. Yeah, we integrated, man, and we should never have. And we're so we're so caught up in it now, man, that it might be impossible for a lot of us to want to separate from it. A lot of us actually like this shit. And I was saying this the other night, I meant it. A lot of us will refuse to part from it. You know, they're going to refuse. You know, they're going to decide that no, they cool with it. And you see that every day. Rakufu, what it do, loved one? Peace and blessings, bub. Apex is a good movie for you on Netflix. I already saw it. Apex was real good. That was, you know, it was good. It was good. And I tell you what, sometimes I wish my wife would come in and get a chair and we just chop it up with y'all. When it first came on, I BS you not, man. After the first couple of white dudes was hollering at her, and then the other dude came and he was just too smooth. I said, oh, he's a serial killer. I BS you not. So, you know, we watched the movie and lo and behold, this boy, man, he was knocking them down, man. I said, oh, wow. And I wasn't surprised I called it, but it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I have to admit that much. It was a good movie. And that dude he was in his worship. You know, his bloodlust is craving for flesh, and very typical of them. Very typical. But yeah, I called it. And I wasn't surprised when it turned out to be just that, man. So you might have to come with another one, bro. I already saw that one. You're going to say Rakufu from the green banks of Kemet. Osiris rose in pieces and became whole again, teaching Africa that life can be broken and still return stronger. So it was, so shall it be. Let's send that out, man, in atmosphere, you know? Yeah. You're going to say, man, across the Atlantic, his children were scattered and changed, yet the same sacred pulse endured in the hearts of African Americans. You're going to say through cotton fields, city streets, and freedom songs, they carried Osiris within them, the power to die, to suffering, and resurrect as a people. And like the Nile after the flood, Africa remembers and her descendants rise again. Appreciate you dropping that, bro. Appreciate you dropping that. Raymond Scholes said, man, our folks were tricked into integration, thinking our plight would be better here in America. All we have to do is look at our success while we were segregated. Yeah, I think, yeah, when I said it was a cold ploy, I think so. But I think that what made that ploy even go over or work well was a lot of coercion. You know, a lot of threats, a lot of violence, a lot of coercion. And that's how that thing came to be, you know. Because I like to think that after the destruction of our cities, you know, and all those things our ancestors built, there was a lot of anger, you know. There was a lot of anger and resolve, as well as maybe determination as well to rebuild. But I think that, or those thoughts were stamped out real quick. And that's why I say I think coercion, threats, and violence also played a role in getting our people to partake or participate in integration. That's what I think, man. Yeah. Hey, Raku, for that, what you just said is sticking with me, man. Yeah. Yeah. From the green banks of Kemet, Osiris rose in pieces and became whole again, teaching Africa that life can be broken and still return stronger. Across the Atlantic, his children were scattered and changed, yet the same sacred pulse endured in the hearts of African Americans. Through cotton fields, city streets, and freedom songs, they carried Osiris within them, the power to die, to suffering, and resurrect as a people. And like the Nile after the flood, Africa remembers and her descendants rise again. Appreciate that, bro. Yep. Need that. So let's look forward to that. And Fat Rap backs that up, or he supports that with the resurrection of Osiris was with the assistance of his sister Isis. We can never forget her Lord. Can we forget the correlation between that incident and what happened to us in America? And I wonder if I read that right. The resurrection of Osiris was with the assistance of his sister Isis. We can never forget her. We can never forget her Lord. We can forget the correlation between that incident and what happened to us in America. Okay, forget her Lord. Can we forget the correlation between that incident and what happened to us in America? I think we should neither. Yeah. Can we forget that correlation, or the correlation between that incident and what happened to us in America? No, we can't. I think not. All right, I got another one for us. Raku Fouché, right quick. The Sheep Detective movie. Oh, yeah. That was on the list, man. That's on the list with the sheep that's figuring out they're going to solve a case or whatnot. I'll check it out. Okay, I'll check that out. All right, what we got here, man? I got another one for y'all, man. This one's deep. One of our queens, man, one of our goddesses is about to speak. I love it. Heartfelt shit right here. I have to say. Hold on. Let's bring this in here, man. All right. Get aboard this. Focus on the focus. Oh, shit.
People for honoring our ancestors. I want you to remember this. What is your age? Mine is 37. So to think that my ancestors, to know that my ancestors were enslaved for 400 years, and that religion that those white people gave you did not take them out of it. It kept them in it for 400 years. So I'm going to honor my ancestors. I'm going to do whatever it is I gotta do to make sure that they know that I know the sacrifice that they made unwillingly for 400 years. That religion did not save y'all, bro. Like, what? I don't understand why I can't see that. Do y'all not know what the fuck 400 years is? That's a long time. Why would people who want to keep you slaves for 400 years give you the source? Why would they give you the source, man? Oh my God, I don't think I understand. This mess has been on me for days. It's been heavy, bro. Don't fucking ever forget. 400 years, bro. Look at us, man. Look at us. Damn. For those black people who like to shame spiritual people for honoring our ancestors, I want you to remember this. What is your age? Mine is 37. So to think that my ancestors, to know that my ancestors were enslaved for 400 years, and that religion that those white people gave you did not take them out of it. It kept them in it for 400 years. So I'm going to honor my ancestors. I'm going to do whatever it is I gotta do to make sure that they know that I know the sacrifice that they made unwillingly for 400 years. That religion did not save y'all, bro. Like, what? I don't understand why I can't see that. Do y'all not know what the fuck 400 years is? That's a long time. Why would people who want to keep you slaves for 400 years give you the source? Why would they give you the source, man? Oh my God, I don't think I understand. This mess has been on me for days. It's been heavy, bro. Don't fucking ever forget. 400 years, bro. Look at us, man. Look at us. Damn. For those black.
Yeah. Damn. Rakufu said, man, Hakum is currently one of the highest rated mystery thrillers in theaters, all right, with strong critical scores, praised for its highly constructed plot, all right, suspense and final reveal. It's a true adult-oriented detective story with multiple suspects are hidden, okay. He congratulates you too, Fat Rat. He say, nice work on Osiris. Yeah, powerful, man. If that ain't enough, I don't know, man. Shit. Yeah, when I saw that, man, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. Raymond Skull said, man, we must not forget that slavery haven't ended that long ago. I think this is a factor in our overall dysfunction as a collective. We have to fight to break those mental shackles. I want to back that up with the fact that I don't think slavery ended at all. You know, it hasn't. You know, it hasn't. And I was saying earlier when it started, it's just subtle now, you know, and not really subtle. It's just, it's downplayed so well. Most of us don't recognize that we're slaves. You know, a lot of us actually think we're free. A lot of us really think we're free, you know, and we're not, you know. What makes us slaves, man, again, we were talking about this last week, I think, is the participation in and with the system that allowed slavery. In fact, that slavery built. We participate in that system today. We're the same product. You know, we're the same product. You know, we continue to make those who enslaved us, who are continuing to enslave us, richer. You know, this is why I think it's suggested by a lot of our people that we need to break away, free ourselves from them, separate from them, and create our own get down separate of theirs. That's freedom. You know, that would be something we could call, we do it right, autonomy, you know, independence, you know, that, you know, anything we do, we work at or work for would be for us, not them. And that's how we would end that. But until such a time, yeah, until that happens, trust and know, man, you know, we're part of, you know, the slave culture. Facts, you know, facts. You know, until we're separated from this system, especially the capitalistic system that we built, we'll continue to be slaves to it, or slaves supporting it. Oh man, crazy. Chris said, man, this is why they promote comedians so much and give them so much money. Not too many comedians coming out of Africa. Fat Rat Playboy has a question. He said, question, aside from the papal bull, who authorized our sojourn into America? Excuse me. Sorry about that, John. Excuse me. Again, aside from the papal bull, the Pope, who authorized our sojourn in America? Damn good question. Who authorized our sojourn into America? That being apart from the Pope sanctioning it, or, you know, or authorizing it first. Good question. Aside from the papal bull, the Pope, who authorized our sojourn, Africans' journey into America as slaves? Good question. Rod Kufu say, I would say no one else. Raymond Skull said, damn, Bub, I have to agree with you. It went from slavery to Jim Crow and to our current state. You're right. As far as authorized. Raku say, I would say no one else as far as authorized. Henry Sadello said, man, listen, power to the people. At Brother Bub and the intelligence chat. Blessings to all. Right back to you, bro. And let's keep in mind, man, the power is in us. It is actually in us, you know, and I mean that literally. Power is in the people. Power is in the people. Kimberly Mitchell said, man, these white folks know Black Jesus is coming back soon. They're bringing out footage, UFOs or chariots with angels. That's why they're trying to go to Mars. We are the chosen one. The chosen ones. Rakufu said 12 years a slave is about groom and so-called educating, which is really indoctrinating us from kindergarten to the 12th grade. Yeah, I don't watch them kind of movies, though, be honest with you, Rock. I think I already mentioned that. I don't partake in them type of movies at all. at all. I got enough of that information. You know, yeah, I too much of it, in fact. Yeah. Fat Rat said, Rob, what about, and I forget how to pronounce this. I want to say Yahweh or Yah, I don't know. YHWH, in his decree to Abram, but not Abraham, about the 400 years servitude under a stranger in a strange land. Let's build. Excuse me, y'all. Rakufus, I understand that perspective in this situation. B60 says Isabella. I was thinking, yeah, I'm you know, so if you're talking, well, the sister just, you know, her soul opened up. She said 400 years, and if Fat Rat's statement, we're talking thousands of years. You know what I mean? If Abram was pretty much told by the Most High, whoever, that was going to be the case, then yeah, we're talking thousands of years. You know. In terms of somebody authorizing such a thing, you know, I have a conflict issues with that, but you know, that's neither here nor there right now. But yeah, Rakufu, okay, no. Fat Rat said, Rob, what about I'm just saying the Most High, man, in his, okay, I already read that, in his decree to Abram, not Abraham, about the 400 years servitude under a stranger in a strange land. Let's build. Rakufu says, I understand that perspective in this situation. B60 says Isabella of Spain, Queen Isabella. Yeah. Excuse me. Alonzo, what it do, bro? Good to see you up in here, man. He said, Bub, I'm here. Family, hope all is well. Grand Rising, big bro. What's the topic, please? No rats, LOL. All right. We're just having a discussion right now. We just dropped a clip I thought to be a very emotional clip, man. You know, sister talking about, you know, what we went through in the last 400 years, or what our ancestors had to endure for 400 years, while we're, you know, basically she's saying we're out here acting like damn fools. You know, we haven't honored the ancestors who went through what they went through, suffered what they suffered. You know, we haven't respected their plight, or, you know, that treatment they got, that oppression and all that shit they went through. You know, but, you know, the topic started with, you know, what has happened in our community? What happened to the community? You know, how did we end up like this? You know, being that we got all this infinite information, Alonzo, you yourself, we have infinite information, but it seems that we carry, or we possess, zero wisdom. Zero wisdom. All this information that all of us have, but zero wisdom. Why is that? Why we know everything, man, but we ain't utilize that understanding, that knowledge, that information to our benefit? Why haven't we been able to, you know, be so wise, or so wise in a way to extract ourselves from the situation, you know, to put us in a better place, you know? Yeah. Raymond Scholes said, man, I feel that we need to strive for economic empowerment as Black people. That's where the power and control lies. I tell you, just in my the little understanding I have, when we talk about economic empowerment, are we still attached to the system, the capitalist system, the system that runs everything, the system that exists, you know, how it exists, the system that got us in the position we're in, or it exists because of the position we were in? We created that system. We made it, you know, all that it is, the best in the world, you know what I mean? do we still remain a part of that? Or do we separate from that too? Because I think that if we remained a part of it, then we haven't separated ourselves from these people or anything that they got their fingerprint on it that they're a part of. I'm curious. How do we do that? I mean, can someone answer that? You know, if we're gonna profess to have land ownership, holding deeds, and creating our own economy, being independent, does that also mean then we're separating from the system? Or do we do all this and still be attached to capitalism, their capitalism? Make no mistakes about that. That's always been my question. That's the thought I always have. We're going to call ourselves being autonomous or being independent. Would that include as well not participating in their capitalistic structure or system? I need to know. I'd like to know the answer to that. All right. All right, Lonzo say peace to the RGC. I hope everyone's family is well. Right back to you. Fat Rat said, now we're going up a notch. Did she say the UFO? I don't know the Most High in his decree to Abraham about 400 years to a stranger, any stranger perspective in this situation. Raku says, man, I don't watch them much. I was using that name of a movie that is ironically called 12 Years a Slave. And we go to school, ironically, 12 years and graduate. Yeah, I see the connection in terms of the 12-year thing. Yeah. Fat Rat says, man, we don't understand is that everything we looking at and dealing with was written before any act of it happened. All right, Al, jump in here, man. Al says, man, written where, Fat Rat Playboy? Salutation, you, Bub, and the entire RGC. Right back to you, Al. Good to see you up in there, bro. Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is Under Groove Podcast. Y'all know how we do, man. Like, share. Yeah, like and hit that like thing, y'all, and share, man, if you can. Subscribe if you haven't. Let's get in the habit of doing that. We would appreciate it here, man, at Under the Groove, especially when we touching bases. So there I go. Let's move on. Again, Al says salutations to you, Bub, and the entire RGC. Right back to you, Al. Appreciate seeing you, bro. Lonzo say, man, Rakufu Raymond, peace to you and yours, brothers. Are you going to say, Alonzo, Al Thomas, peace to you, your family. Hope all is well with you and yours. I miss you all. All right. Okay, so Fat Rat answered that, Al. He says, and I'm sure you already saw it, Al Thomas, in the original Asiatic text. All right. Alonzo say, we will, Bub. Everything takes time, big bro. It's around the corner. Yeah. You said it's around the corner. I know. I'm kind of wondering, man, when I know that, the Most High and everything says, what's going to be done for us as a people. We're going to look out, protect us. But should we expect to also, or should we think to also protect ourselves, although the creator or whoever, says they got our back, they're going to take care of the evildoers and all this. While we wait on that, do we sit idly by and allow all these atrocities to continue to take place? Do we continue to turn the other cheek and all that? How are we supposed to carry ourselves morally, you know, in the flesh? How are we supposed to defend ourselves? Do we, you know, expect for the Most High, the Creator, Yah, whatever, to deal with all our battles? How are we supposed to act in terms of, you know, our morality, what we know to be right and wrong in the face of us? You know, how do we do? What's said about that? You know, I'd like to understand that. I hope I made some sense, man. But you know, I don't know. You know, are we supposed to leave everything to the Most High, especially when it comes to defending against evil and evildoers against us? Or are we supposed to deal with some of that ourselves as we wait for God to return or whatever? I'm just curious. I'm curious. You know, I'd like to know that. All right. Rakufu said, man, the star fell screaming through the velvet of deep space and struck the ancient soil of Africa, scattering fire into rivers, mountains, and the first dreaming minds of mankind. From that celestial dust rose kingdoms of gold and granite, Kemet, Kush, Mali Empire, and Songhai Empire, whose children mapped the heavens while carrying the memory of the stars in their blood. I'll say, man, what is the name of said text? And he's referring to you, Fat Rat, the Asiatic text, the original Asiatic text that you quoted. Okay, what is the name of said text? Says Al. Yeah, Rakufu, that was deep. I like that as well. Excuse me. Alonzo said, Al Thomas, you ever read Ninjas to Gods Part 1? Must read, family, if you don't mind. Read that. I read it. Fat Red said, contrary to what we commonly understand, this whole past 6,000 years is a necessary step in our evolution to godhood. Raku said, through change scattered their descendants across oceans. The cosmic ember never died. It slept beneath sorrow, freedom songs, and the unbroken heartbeat of African Americans. And when the appointed age arrives, that same star fire will awaken again. And Africa and her scattered children will rise like a new constellation across the earth. Man, you want to talk about being impatient? That is me waiting to see what else we got, man. All right, I got one more, man. I think I got one more. No, I got one more and then one more. Check this one out as well, y'all. You know, check this one out. And I don't know if anybody noticed, but everything I played up to this point has a theme. They're connected, you know. They're all relative. You know what I mean? But get a bar of this right quick.
We need to change this culture, man. This black culture that we adopting right now, man, we need to change this shit. Because it ain't helping nobody. We fucking over people, man. You got a group of black men, the most weakest, sorriest group of black men ever. Disloyal. We fucking over each other, man. We promote killing. In our music, in the videos, we promote hoeing, prostitution, that type of shit, bro. And this is our culture. The way that we talk to each other. Niggas call each other bitches and shit. We think this shit cool, bro. We think this shit cool. Oh, this our culture. What else is our culture besides fucking over each other? You know what I'm saying? And it's being perpetuated to our kids daily. You got Gucci being robbed by Pooh Shiesty, and his daddy is there. Man, is this the motherfucking message we trying to send to our kids, bro? Is this what we trying to promote? Is this what we trying to do? And everybody say, oh man, this the culture, this how we is, just ratchet shit. The dumbest thing you can think ever, man. We just promoting and we doing this shit, bro. And this is supposed to be the culture. Now we need to reevaluate some of the shit that we doing, man. It ain't working. It ain't working. And if we continue with this shit, man, we all gonna die out. Or we gonna be back in slavery. We steady asking for reparations and all this other shit. What we gonna do with it? Who got a plan? Kids don't want to be lawyers and doctors and nothing educational no more. Everybody want to be influencers, rappers, IG models. Having a natural body ain't nothing no more, man. Everybody want to be made up. Men don't want to be men no more. They want to keep up an image to try to impress somebody else, bro. And this is the culture. This the shit we ought to be proud of. Fuck out of here, man. We need.
All right. Real shit, man. All right. Real shit, man. Like I say, most everything I've been playing is all connected. It all has a link. You know, it's all relative, man, in terms of what we're going through, what we see happening in our communities. In fact, this is what's happening to our communities. This is what it is. This was happened. Not is happening, it's happened. You know, and I don't know. I'm like, bro, man, what? We don't see this shit. We that cool with everything. You know? Crazy, man. I got one more. I got one more. That's some bullshit. All right. Yeah, man. I'm trying to focus, man. Damn. Brother kicking his ass. Kick his ass. Need your wife to help you. Anyway, yeah, man. Let me jump in here. Shit. Boom. Damn. Slept. All right, I got distracted, brother, putting in work. Love it. All right, whose name said text? That was Al, man. Let me jump in here, man. All right, I read that. I read that. Roscoe said, man, I think we'd be a part of the system until we level up enough to separate from their system. All right. I mean, I thought about it, bro. And again, you know, I always use as a basis of economics, you know, what we have is in terms of a people, because you got to know we have money because we spend it annually on shit. And again, that's trillions of dollars. I think that's the springboard into not only getting shit established for us as a people, but also creating a system that we use that benefits us, and it has a certain value to us. You know what I mean? We're not worried about somebody else trading in our currency. Now, how do we transition from American dollar, $2 trillion to our shit? You know, that's another question. It could be worked out, you know, and I do think there should be a transition, you know. Yeah, we get everything we need, you know what I mean, in terms of what's needed initially to establish our own shit. We very well may have to use this system to acquire all those resources. You know what I mean? That you know, that's more than the possibility. That may be, you know, a fact or the issue, you know. Otherwise, you know, let's say Africa donates whatever, you know what I mean? That would be a good look. But with $2 trillion, yeah, I think there's a way or a means to, you know, convert, you know, that money, you know, from American dollars to something else that would eliminate or separate us from that process of capitalism or their capitalistic system. There are ways around it. A lot of thought, though, got to be put into it. I don't disagree with you on that, though, Raymond. Alonzo say, no, I say we start our own economic. Alonzo says, no, I say we start our own economic system. I agree. But do you do that off the rip? Is that even feasible? Is that something you could do off the rip? Let's say 1 year from now, the majority of us say, okay, we're done. Boom. And we have, you know, hypothetical, okay, in excess of $2 trillion. What do we do initially? Do we convert that? And if so, into what type of currency, or whose currency do we convert it to or into? You know, up against the dollar, it might not be as much. You know what I mean? But I say that to say, in case we don't want to even spend that $2 trillion back into the system, their system, we convert it, you know, to some other currency, and we do what we got to do. You know, we begin to build our foundation, you know, our society, our system, you know, and in that we find another creation, or in terms of currency, you know, we find another creation, you know, to use as currency that has nothing to do with the capitalist system. I don't know. I think there are many ways to, you know, again, no one comes up with solutions to problems better than us. So I have, you know, that type of trust in us in terms of what we could come up with, what we'll be able to come up with, you know. I think the main issue, first and foremost, is separating ourselves first, you know, but have that plan in place, no doubt. You know, what do we do day one of separation? You know, how do we go about, you know, putting that $2 trillion that we've taken out of their system, ours, and, you know, utilize it to our benefit, our, you know, help our purpose, help us build what we want? Do we convert the money, or do we use the money in the system? Do we give it back to them? I think not. I wouldn't want to see their ass with shit. You know, I just wouldn't, you know, and let somebody else do it, a third party or something, you know. I think there are ways, though. I think there are ways. Al Thomas says, man, sitting on social media, soaking up too much so-called information leads to information overload, which can paralyze one's thought processes on a subconscious level. I just read on that today, man. It's crazy that you say that. They say, man, too much of this shit can really shut you down. It can shut you down mentally, man. Lisa Moore said, Brother Bub, I'm in my feelings right now, and after watching that video, I don't say much. I like to greet my brothers and sisters, but those who put people in captivity should go in captivity themselves. Yeah. That sister, that man, that was, I saw that, Sister Kim, I saw that thing earlier today, and it just stopped me cold. I have to admit that. It stopped me cold. I was like, damn, man, damn. And I concluded that it was meant for me to see that. It was meant for me to see that. I'm gonna tell you guys. I trust my soul has me in a transition. Right, I know I'm going through a transition. I'm pretty sure of it, you know. And I don't know, man. You know, throughout the day, man, I'm trying to figure out how to deal with this. You know, how to deal with this transition. You know what I mean? You know, but that stopped me cold, and I'm telling you, it hit me like I was meant to see that. You know, it was part of what I'm going through. I needed to see that. So, yeah, I still feel it. That thing was 10 minutes ago. I still feel it. Yeah. Oh, that was Lisa. Excuse me, Lisa Moore. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Queen. Okay, you weren't finished with that Rakuvu? Through chains scattered their descendants across the oceans, the cosmic ember never died. It slept beneath sorrow, freedom songs, and the unbroken heartbeat of African Americans. And when the appointed age arrives, that same star fire will awaken again. And Africa and her scattered children will rise like a new constellation across Earth. Fat Rat said, man, women, did I miss anybody? I hope not. Let me go back then right quick. Okay. Okay, so Fat Rat said, man, the goal is not defeated by the activity along the way. Again, he says, Fat Rat says, the goal is not defeated by the activity along the way. All right. The goal is not defeated by the activity along the way. Lonzo said, man, we need an agreement like the natives. We have our own police and government control our own money. And yet, though, they're still a part of the system. Though they have their own government, they have their own rituals, they're still tied into the government in a lot of ways. They still use American currency. They still are a part of the capitalist, get down, the operation, you know what I mean? Come on. They are, they're still connected. They're still plugged in too. They haven't, there's, and they claim sovereignty. And I tell you, man, I've seen too many instances where that shit don't carry no weight, man, with the government. They don't give a damn about that. They say it's on paper, but that don't mean shit. They don't care about that, man. And I think that's because they're still hooked to the hip with them. They still participate in with the system. That would be our downfall. If we separate, we separate. If we separate, we separate. We can't straddle the fence. We can't straddle the fence. Fat Rat Playboy said, man, disregard that one, but I tried to erase it. That's actually you talking in my voice recorder, picking up what you said. All right. Is that right? The goal is not defeated by the activity along the way. Yeah, man. Fat Rat said, but when Star Sister was talking about UFOs, I said, oh, are we going up or not? Because now we're talking about the science of the original Asiatic black man. Boom. He slept her. Damn, that's hard to look at. I got my phone going on Instagram, man. No, now you ask for help and you kicked this brother's car. Shut the fuck up. Your ass. And see, that's what I'm struggling with too, man. I don't know. Say less. Say less. Fat Rat, that's interesting, bro. I just saw something today. Crazy shit, man. I think I kept it. I got to go look in my on my playlist. I think I kept it, but it had something to do with UFOs and space. I'm gonna have to look at that some more before I even comment on it. I'll look at that some more before I comment on it. All right, but Chris said, man, I think we might be attached by the hip with this society. If you have a medical emergency, 9 times out of 10, it's a white guy with glasses coming to help you. Well, that there could be a lot of other reasons for that, though. I get what you're saying, but even so again, were we to separate, when we separate, I don't think that there'll be any shortage of medical professionals, man, with us. I hope I'm addressing your statement correctly. You said, I think we might be attached by the hip with the society. If you have a medical emergency, 9 times out of 10, it's a white guy with glasses coming to help you. Yeah, right now that could be the case. And yet still, there are black doctors, women and men, nurses, women and men, medical professionals, black women and men. But when it comes to, let's say, us separating, period, point blank, again, not straddling the fence, we are moving on. Yeah, man, black health professionals, going to be in abundance. I think we're going to have the best of the best. I think that the best of the best. So that would be no reason for us to stay connected to them. That I don't see that being the reason why we would not disconnect from them. Under the circumstances now, yeah, no doubt, we go to hospitals and we see those be the majority of doctors sometimes, depending on where you go, right? So yeah. All right, I got you, Holcomb. I'm gonna check that out. Lonzo said, yes, you better be prepared to defend ourselves and even go on to the offensive when it get popping. Excuse me. Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, Fat Rat, man. He says, the Most High has a classroom, bub. Imagine you walking up to his classroom door, demanding that he tell you everything he got planned before you decide you're going to walk in or not. All right, the Most High has a classroom, bub. Imagine you walking up to his classroom door, demanding that he tell you everything he got planned before you decide you're going to walk in or out. All right. Say less. Yeah. All right. My thing, but to my statement, I wanted to know, what are you guys, those who believe, who have faith, who trust, the Most High, all that, right? What happens in those circumstances or those situations where God is wherever he is and you are here and there's a situation? I mean, is it your moral obligation to defend yourself, or is that something you hurry up and get away from, saying, okay, God will handle that? That's my question. That was my question. And I say that because I know people that do that would do that, and some of them, have certain faiths, beliefs, religions, and they do that. Some turn the other cheek and they'll, my God will handle the sinner, And my question is, okay, while we're down here dealing with, you know, the evil of the sinners, what are we supposed to do? Just deal with the evil of the sinners? Do we wait for Yah or God, the Most High's return to deal with that? Or do we continue to suffer? And I think in a lot of cases, unnecessarily, you know, through, you know, this evil that men do. Men just like me and you. What does it say about that? I mean, are you granted the right to, hey, man, handle it? Do you not, or have you not been given that moral obligation to defend yourself and go on offensive if necessary when combating evil? Or is that something you leave to Yah? I don't know. I'm just asking. I'm not too sure. You know, that's why I'm asking. I'll just say, our people been fighting the entire time. They just lose when they cause wasn't right. You feel me? What do you mean? When their cause wasn't right, when are our people fought anybody and the cause wasn't right or the fight wasn't justified? You know, help me to understand that. I don't recall our people fighting any fight that wasn't just, that wasn't right. I can't recall off the top of my head. You know, if you got some, you know, enlighten me, help me to recall that. I don't recall that. So, you know, you say our people been fighting the entire time. They just lose when they cause wasn't right. You know, yeah. You're going to say, man, we don't care about no celebrities. They don't represent regular folks. But they were once regular people, right? Most of them started dirt poor. It's still truth, you know, but, you know, hey, look at them now. I'll say, man, otherwise, he would certainly be able to change our current circumstances without delay and funk all the tests. The Most High should be able to fix things at his whim. And if he hasn't, then in my mind, he's not worthy of any praise. Respectfully, that's my opinion. And again, that's, you know, and I don't want to get, I don't want us to start lighting on, you know, this back and forth about, you know, the Most High and what his plan is, this and another, or we tying in the Most High's plan to what we're actually going through right now. And it being said or suggested that this is the plan, this is the design for us to, you know, continue to suffer after 400 years or after 6,400 years. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know, man. Pharaoh said, man, we've been complaining. We have complaining down to a science, but we can all leave the room with complaints, but that doesn't offer the solution. And I think, again, yeah, you're right. And we say this all we started out actually not talking about that. We start out, I made that statement towards, we always pointing our fingers, complaining about how bad things are, right? And we want to blame everybody else that's complaining about our situation. We say, it's their fault, we're complaining. But nobody has figured out, like you just said, and I've said, you know, this infinite amount of information and zero wisdom, you know, and wisdom would be that thing to help or assist us in creating or developing a solution, coming up with a solution. You know what I mean? I think, you know, we have the information, we have everything, we know, but there's no wisdom. We don't apply, you know, we haven't used that in any applicable, in any way to fix our situation. What, we aren't wise enough? I don't, you know, I don't buy that for a second. Something else is going on. You know, now again, yeah, we complain up the yin yang, man. All of us do. We do. You know, I attested to that starting this conversation earlier. We do, and yeah, it does not bring about a solution any more than us blaming or leaving it to some other power, higher power, to fix the problem for us. That was my whole point. You know, what are the solutions? You know, we're going to talk about what's wrong or what happened to our community. We know what happened, right? And I don't think for a minute no one has a solution. We know the solutions. Why haven't we implemented, you know, these solutions to correct the problems in our community? Again, there's always some complaining, you know, or there's a lot of disagreements. You know, people don't want to do this. People, I hear what you're saying though, bro. Lonzo say, man, peace to all the ladies, queens in RGC. Hope y'all had a blessed Mother's Day. Right? About time you gave up that word of the day, though, Rakufu. I thought you forgot, bro. You coming in talking about the movies and stuff. You know, I look forward to when you come in, send your greetings to everybody, your salutations, and then you hit us with that word for the day. You the wordsmith, man. But anyway, word for the day is invariability. All right? And invariability. Invariability, okay? I know you dropped the sentence in there for us as well. Boom. Al said, man, mine, he's not worthy of any praise. Respectfully, that's my pen. Okay, I got that part. Kimberly Mitchell said, man, we got to give the Most High our worries. He's not saving the wicked ones. Fearing him is the first step. He only needs a percentage. Get your heart right. That's your mind. Your spirit need change. Okay, now here's the question. And I don't really want to go down this road, you guys, tell the truth, but that stood out to me right there, Kim, sister. You say fear him. Fearing him is the first step. And I'm just like, no, why do I have to fear him? Why is that required? You know, why is that required? Why must the God demand that I be in fear of him, a God? Why would that matter? That don't make sense to me. Respectfully, I say that makes no sense to me. This omnipotent, this super trillion times powerful than all superheroes imaginable combined, right? Why should I be required to fear him? Why would that be a prerequisite? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. That don't even sit well with me. I'm being honest. I'm being truthful right now. That makes no sense to me. That's like saying, don't question him. Why? Why must I fear him? I don't get that part. And respectfully, I say that. Ferris said, man, I hear us talking about Black history, Black accomplishments, and what Black people are going to do in this hour without mentioning Farrakhan right there. I know what the problem and solution is. See, I didn't want to even go down this path, man, because, this calls for debate. And in that debate, what will ensue are opinions, thoughts, a lot of questioning, a lot of shit, will come up as a result of these religious debates, or these, these debates about Christianity, these debates about Israelites, these debates about Islam, and that I think that, again, I said this last week, and I said it because I felt the energy is not right. people are not ready for that conversation. People are not ready to hear what people really think about all these different faiths, these tenets, these religions. Everybody don't see the same thing, don't relate. And as a result, those who do, those who are practicing or devout individuals in that thing that they trust and they hold to heart, close to heart, but find offense in what a lot of, and rightfully so, you guys say it's ignorance, but you'll still be offended because of another individual's ignorance relating to that thing you trust and believe in most. That's the problem, man. This is why I felt that thing last week, man. The energy wasn't right, man. It was not a good look. It wasn't a good feel, and I don't think, I don't think any good is going to come from that. People have opinions, man. And this is what I learned, man. And this is why I continue to learn and accept this. Everybody's not going to agree with Bub and what I think, what I trust, what I look to, what inspires me. Everybody's not going to agree. That's the problem, man. I've had to learn that, okay, that's me. I ain't got to worry about how that's not going to affect me because you don't give a flying flick about me and my connection with my spirituality, devoid of anything else. You know what I mean? Me just want to tap in and see if I can reach the ancestors, devoid of all that other stuff. Everybody's not going to think like that or feel that way. Some brothers and sisters will become offended when people have questions, and it could be some rumor shit. It could be, it ain't got to be truth to it, but it would be found, or it would be looked at as disrespectful. I don't think we're ready for that, Fat Rat. I don't think we're ready for that, because that's just the truth, bro. Everybody don't look at Farrakhan in the same eyes or from the same thought process as you or others, or anyone. And I don't, the same with Alonzo. Everybody don't see the Most High like Alonzo sees him. His connection is stronger. He believes this, man, to his core. You own what you want. You believe that to your core. That's the thing, man. We as the people haven't even reached that. It's like, man, and excuse me if this sounds disrespectful, but it's like a Crip in the blood or Hoover in the neighborhood trying to sit down and agree on who came first, who's the most respected, who, come on, that ain't the way, I don't think that this thing is built up and strong enough for that yet. There's just too much come from, too many feathers will get ruffled. Me, I'm not, for me, I'm not in no shape, form, or fashion like that. I can care less. That's just me, I'm not there with that, That doesn't mean I can't have a discussion, which I'm not going to be offended by what you trust, what you know to be what you know to be. I don't have a problem with that, bro. But can you say the same if I have questions? If I question, certain things, what I mean? I since last week, I've been intentionally avoiding this because I don't think this is going to do us any good. We got so many other fish to fry, man. And now I was saying this last week. Is it even possible for us who have these these beliefs, who are devout, who are practicing, this as a way of life, is it even within them to set that to the side, just to have general conversations about the people and the plight of the people without instilling or inserting into the conversation the Most High, Allah, Buddha, whoever, those are the conversations, man, we have to learn how to get to, man. Amen, because what any brother believes or sister in terms of who their God is, most highest, that, you know, you for real, that is some personal stuff. You know, this, what we're dealing with, man, is all inclusive. We're all in this boat. Everybody's not a Christian. Everybody's not a Israelite. Everybody's not a Muslim. You know what I mean? But we're all black. That's what we got in common. That's what we got in common. These should be what our discussions are about, our blackness. And I'm not, you know, when we're ready for that, I'm more than down. I'm game. But for a lot of us, man, that's not the end all to be all, or the be all to end all. You know what I mean? It's just not, bro. Everybody don't have the same trust and faith, belief in what everybody else believes. But we do have in common one thing, man. We black. And as a result of that, I don't care what religion, faith, whatever it is, we all are suffering and going through the same shit. That's a fact. I don't care what God any of you guys say support you or got your back. One thing is for sure. We all in this shit, man. God or not. You know? That's why I say and I didn't mean no disrespect to Kimberly. Why must the God need my fear? I don't get that, you know? So, and I say that respectfully, you know? What I say, Fat Rat, is in respect to you, bro. Never no disrespect, bro. You feel me? But I don't know if that's the conversation, excuse me, we can have, and we'd be all right after the fact. I just want to be right with my brothers, man. And it's like brothers are saying, if I'm not right with their gods and their beliefs, their religions, then we ain't right. We ain't cool. We cannot come together. Something wrong with that, man. I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm speaking, you know, in general. But, and I've known brothers I know brothers like that. You know, would talk just like that, act just like that. And live in the world just like we do. You get it? You know what I mean, right? You know, that makes no sense to me. But we got one thing in common, man. Each and every one of us, man. We all fucking black, man. We all going through the same fucking shit. God or no God. That's a fact. Y'all's God, their God, his God, her God ain't helping y'all no better than us who ain't got a God. We all in the same boat, man. So, you know. You know, we all know what the problem is. We all got a solution. Again, there's something in common we got. But just like that, we ain't got the wherewithal to come together and make this shit work. We always got these barriers and these barricades and these walls and shit. Goddamn, man. That's what's also wrong with the community. That's also what's happened to the community. You know? Straight up, man. Rakufu said, man, through the invariability, excuse me, through the invariability of disciplined action, a community transforms scattered effort into enduring prosperity. I like that. Through the invariability of disciplined, invariably, yeah, yeah. Through the invariability of disciplined action, a community transforms scattered effort into enduring prosperity. Always appreciate your words, Smith. Chris say, man, they need to work for us. We have to find a way to make them work for us. And again, I say, when that time comes for us to be autonomous, really, really independent, really free, fuck them, man. Fuck them. I'm telling you, I think that our best revenge would be to us to handle our business and not look back and let them look, let them just like, damn, that's going to hurt them. That's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them bad. It's going to hurt them bad. They are the most egotistical people on the face of the earth for all the wrong reasons. The most chauvinistic, the most arrogant, narcissistic motherfuckers on the planet. For us to do what we're supposed to do for us, not to make nobody else. We ain't got to have none one of them work for us. In fact, we don't even want them in our midst. Let's tell the truth. We should be quite frank about that. We don't even want them around us. The less of them in our midst, the better off we'll be. If you let the damn enemy in the gate, hey, man, he's going to open the gate. The enemy going to come through that motherfucker. They're going to find a way. Slide a Trojan horse up in there, something. I say, man, leave them where they at. We don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need them to do nothing for us. They done done enough to us. We don't need them. That's what I say. But Chris say, man, they need to work for us. We have to find a way to make them work for us. They need to sign my contract. And yet there are a lot of us who are very, 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 very bitter, very hurt, very, very, very much traumatized. So I get that. But I think it's a part of our rising, our rising up, man, would be to lead them behind. It would be just to lead them below, man, keep them beneath us, man. That's it. That's what I think. He say, sign my contract. Alonzo said, man, I agree, Kimberly. I hope all is well with you. We just need to follow and have that mustard seed with us and keep living. Alonzo going to say, oh, Bub, you already helped start. You already helped start an economy in the joint, big bro. We're going to do this ish like nothing. Chill, family. Yeah, we had a little something going up in there, man. Look here. But anyway, Chris said, man, it's like that statue of man standing with his foot on the neck of a snake. Lonzo said, man, we stand on truth that would automatically separate us from the devil. They're allergic, to truth. It's like holy water. I'm laughing my ass off. Yeah, they're full of deception, denial, trickery, conniving, man, all that. Al says, man, Fat Rat Playboy, what is the solution in your opinion? We all know the problems that confront us with or without Farrakhan, respectfully. Alonzo said, man, peace to you, Elisa Moore family. I hope all is well with you and yours. Fat Rat says, man, a 6.9 brain advertising a 7.5 is always misleading. Okay. Is that in weight? Okay. Rakufu said, Bub, we also have to have a fallout plan, meaning like the spook that sat by the door if they got our leaders. Yeah, and that's the whole thing too. And this is why I said, man, that's so necessary. I tell you, one of the better political apparatuses in the world that I know of, and I'm just using this example because it's kind of perfect, is how Iran have their political officials or hierarchy set up. If something happened to the top, that one they automatically know to go up. They all, I don't know to what degree or how great that is. Even the United States have one. If something happened to Trump, then we know JD go in. Something happened to JD, then we know the majority speak, you know, we know how that process works. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's only, I think it's only to do that type of thing. You know, that would be wise. You know, that would always be wise. You know, so the warrior line up, you know, however we want to call them, where we label them, yeah, there would be that, you know, that type of apparatus set up, man, so that, you know, there could be up to 10 people, and they're not vying for that position. They understand their roles, you know what I mean? In each department, you know, in each committee, department, or you know, setup, you know, there would be like anywhere from 5 to 7, maybe 10 individuals who, while doing other things, they know the succession. And it's not one of those things that would be a competitive thing, or one of them things that could be, or that could be overthrown with coup attempts and shit take place and all this shit, you know. Yeah. You know, make sure that shit is set up right. Alonzo said, man, Rakufu, we have tons of leaders. Rakufu said, have a system where up to 3 levels move up in rank. Poke Mitch Podcast said, what to do, bub, and salute as always to the UTG and RGC. I'm here, focus on the focus. 3 right back to you, bro. Good to see you up in this dizzle. What have you done in your day, man? How you feeling? You know, did you get it done? All good? Yeah, I know you're in that position, man. You where you at, you got to seize the day, man. You got to be on your game, homie. For real, for real. Get it done, Pope. Get it done. Rakufu say, great, Alonzo, all of them must respect the chain of command. Yeah, that I think that's a must. I'm late, but I'm here. What to do? Fat Rat, Playboy, love you, big bro. Chris said, man, let's buy Elon. Let's buy Elon's company. Let's buy Elon company. Let's buy off his stocks. Hell no, fuck him. Get that bastard nothing. I was reading some shit on him. Yeah, that dude got a cold mindset. But here's the fun, well, not funny. Here's the cold part about it. He's just one of many in that field. All those AI techs or CEOs or corporations, all of them feel the same way that Elon Musk does. That he, you know, real shit. Can't stand us. Cannot stand us. Don't want us working for him. And want to be able to encode in AI's ability to discriminate against blacks. All of them feel that way. Maybe with the exception of one. I take that back. Amadei, he's the guy that runs Anthropic. Amadei, that's his last name. He had the first contract with the Department of War, you know, Department of Defense back in what they used to call it. But he had the first contract worth $200 million. He built the AI, you know, he the one started Claude, you know, that system, right? So the government used all his, in their departments throughout the federal government used Claude in all their systems. So they ended up having a contract. Long story short, they wanted him to encode in his AI. Well, he wanted to encode in his AI wokeness so that the system did not discriminate or would not, if it was ordered to do something, would not kill, you know, be told to kill, you know, it would not kill indiscriminately. The government went ballistic. Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump got to talk about suing him because they didn't want the AI system to be woke. And dudes like, man, no, y'all don't know what y'all playing with. No, man, it must be woke. Because if it's not woke, then that's what would lead it to becoming autonomous. And they weren't trying to hear it. So they broke the contract, ripped the contract in half. And they gave that same contract to OpenAI. oh my God, the dude's name who run it, it slipped my mind right now. But Bill Gates is associated with him. I don't think he has any stock in OpenAI. Damn, the dude name on the tip of my tongue. But matter of fact, they're all with Trump right now in China. All right. But anyway, yeah, man. No, man. You don't want to buy his shit, man. You don't want to help him in no way. In fact, the thing to be, I think, would be to avoid any product he has. Black people should not support it. If they got Teslas, and again, I know, everybody's not going to agree, especially those brothers and sisters, those kings and queens who drive Tesla, so when somebody like myself or others say, hey man, go take that back, man, they're like, man, you crazy? I love my Tesla. Nah, they ain't gonna feel that. And this is the problem. This is the problem, man. That's part of it anyway. But yeah, man, Elon, nah. He got an interview where his daddy, man, his daddy's super racist too, man. Super racist. He come from that apartheid era, you know what I mean? South Africa. So it should be no surprise though. Fat Rat said, man, Al, bro, first things first, we have to acquiesce certain qualifications to those who have committed to said disciplines. To nation build, land acquisition is meaningless without land development scientists. All right. Alonzo said, man, Rakufu, we got plenty of ex-military ready to roll. Believe me, I know. You're going to say, Alonzo, land development is no good with mind refinement. Without mind refinement. Got you. Land development is no good without mind refinement. Okay. Farrah said, Ed, and we got that. Every necessary discipline, including building a military to defend our nation, we have the qualified personnel. Problem, they work for whites. Solution, come work for your own folks. Alonzo said, well, what? Wait a minute. Now I get, and we got that. Fat Rat Playboy said, and we got that. Every necessary discipline, including building the military to defend our nation. Or are we talking about the Nation of Islam having a military? I think that's, I don't want to assume nothing. That's what you're saying, Fat Rat, right? Alonso, I agree and accept that. I agree and accept that just recognizing verbally that said reality. Poke said, man, Big Al, man, I see you, bro. Hope you and your family doing well or doing good. Blessings, brother. All right. Fat Rat say, no, bub, we out of sync again. But come on, bro. Line me back up, man. Align me, man. Get me back in alignment, bro. Come on. Peace and blessing, brother Alonzo. All right, that's Lisa Moore hollering everybody. Poke said, man, what's being spoke on at the Best Live UTG? And Lisa say, Fat Rat as well. Alonzo said, Bubs, we can take control of Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama. We all moved there. We could take over the politics in those areas. And South Carolina as well. Al Thomas say solutions, Pope. What the fuck? Solutions, Pope. Much love and respect. Oh, excuse me. Salutations, Pope. Much love and respect, black man. We're well. I truly hope that the same applies to you and yours. Soldier. All right. What it do, Queen Lisa Moore? Much love and respect. Okay. Pope sending shots out there, everybody. That's good. Farrah said, man, if we had the science and technology over 28,000 years ago to build pyramids that they can't match scientifically the day that they can't match scientifically, let's say today, but they got flying objects and buildings, right? What do ours look like? Lonzo say, Fat Rat, Father Allah is, was, and will always be the truth. Fat Rat back to Poke, much love. Fat Rat said, man, don't miss the point. Y'all, we got everything we need, money included. We just refuse to separate from this enemy. Damn, Fat Rat, that's the ain't we been talking about this? Yeah, you know, we ain't seen, you know, yeah, man. Therein lies the real problem. There's the issue that seems to not have a solution, or there's no solution for it. Are people not willing to separate from this enemy? Are people refusing to separate from this enemy? Yeah, man, that's the whole thing. I'll say, man, Fat Rat, though I agree with much of what you stated, I do not attempt to make moves without a firm grip on understanding whatever endeavor I'm engaging in. I trust my educating and intelligence just as much, if not more, than anyone else's. When it comes to me, my family and household, due diligence is a must. Okay. And Fat Rat said, man, to that classroom understanding is the fruit of submission, not submission being the fruit of understanding. Got it? You don't get everything. You don't get everything to submit. You submit first. All right. And you were grown stage by stage into your own eventual perfection. That's his way. All right. Folks say, I hear you, bub. I trip off the fact that it took me half of my life to get it right. What I realize now is that I have as not growing in wisdom and truth, my personal belief in the Most High changed. Is there more to that? Continue. That bub, it was the fact that I started to get somewhere in my personal relationship with God and knew that me growing was a purpose of mine to get out of all the things that was holding me back. The turf couldn't get me. The turf couldn't give me no more wisdom than it was giving me that would have took my life or put me in jail for the rest of my life. Where is the support? I'll tell you, it's still in the streets. It's still in the turf where all roads lead to destruction and everything that deviates from it. Okay, now let me go back. All right, got you. I hear you, Poe. So Fat Rat said, man, ain't nobody in Black America more qualified or prepared to deal with our enemy. Remember, I'm in the nation. For instance, when Hakeem Jeffries came to Detroit, they called us to work alongside. The Secret Service. You do understand why they would choose us for that, right? Okay, let me find my way. Okay, got you. Okay. Lonzo said, man, the cause wasn't right when we stopped following, I guess you want to say following the laws, big bro. Those are our people in the book doing all the land they fought over in the book. They won. When they were in the right, they lost. All right. When they were in the right, they lost when they stopped following the laws. I'll say, man, celebrities are still normal people. They're not just in celebrities are still normal people. They are not important in the grand scheme of things. Not in my world anyway. Right. And Alonzo say, what is wisdom to you, bub? It may not be the same thing to you, you know. It may not be. It may not be the same thing to you. You know. And again, I think I don't know, man. I don't know, y'all. B60M say, man, the Dogon tribe knew about Sirius before telescopes were powerful enough to see it. And I think Sirius is what, a constellation or something? Is it a galaxy? Something like the Milky Way. Yes, constellation, probably. Yeah. Star formation, something like that. I think that's what it is. But anyway, the Dogon tribe, yeah, they were able to map the stars, man. And these, you know, how they did it, I don't know. There wasn't no telescope, that's for damn sure. Fire Okie, okay. Also, B60 going to say, also, our people have been healing for a long time. They have found skulls with signs of brain surgery in Africa that was successful because the wound was healed. Read that. Our Tom say, I understand why Hakeem Jeffries would call upon the nation, but that in itself is meaningless considering his stance on most things concerning black people. Lonzo said, man, fire poke, I salute you, bro. That's man shit, standing on your own to live your life and be with your loved ones in the best way without trading your integrity. I mean, Chris said, man, fear for God is to keep you from doing wrong. Our Tom said, would you suggest that we all follow the nation or Farrakhan? And I don't have to imagine that. I'm pretty sure that goes to Farrat. But anyway, B60 said, our ancestors, when brought here, has an understanding of the planets and herbs and their healing properties and also their toxicity. All right. Fat Rat says, man, fear, not to feel like you're scared. Did you think that's what I meant? That I was fear like, oh, like that? No, that ain't what I meant. That's not what I meant. Anyway, but fear, not to feel like you're scared and you need to run, but the fear that you need to have in your son of you so that you can guide him on the right path. That kind of fear. Farrakhan is a man. He's not a religion, bub. I didn't say that. Did I imply that? I didn't mean to if I did. I know damn well Farrakhan's a damn man, just like the rest of us. You know, just like the rest of us. Now, you might have different opinions on what type of man he is. I know he's a man. That's it. You know, I don't think he's any more than that. You know, I know he's not a religion. You know, I know he leads that sect or that get down, but you know, he's still a man, right? Still a man. All right, you go on to say that, right? So what we do when we are wide, yeah, we hold what is called a colloquium. Oh, yeah, I said that right. A colloquium. We raise you raise your points from the highest point, and others raise theirs. Brighter lights prevail, and that's how we should allow guidance. We have to be guided. We have to be guided out of this darkness, bub, as a people. I'm fired up, strapped, heated, and at the ready. I'm doing what I'm saying, bro. We have challenged the whole U.S. government and all of their authority to meet us at the center of that room, and they won't come. So what does a black man who thinks he's an African American have to say that anyone like me should be concerned about in debate? We got to have it out in our own family first. Okay, that's all right. There that is. And that's something I agree with, especially the last part of it, that we're going to have it out with our own family first. I don't doubt that for a minute. I'm pretty sure of that, you know. I'm pretty sure of that. And that falling out is going to be what a lot of people didn't think they had no falling out coming. That's what I think, you know. Oh, it's going to be a free fall almost, but it's got to happen. It got to happen. It's got to happen. That's what I say. That's what I say. I think it's going to happen because it has to. It has to. I don't disagree with that part. Danny Howard said, man, dialogue with respect and move with good intentions. There you go. Appreciate you jumping in here, Danny Howard, and appreciate that comment most of all. Dialogue with respect and move with good intentions. And I, you know, again, man, I appreciate that. Appreciate you dropping that comment. Thank you. Rakufu said, man, when it comes to the people in America that came from the continent of Africa, the name African describes them, and they describe themselves as that before Black, Negro, and all foreign words. Al Thomas said, man, I agree, Bub. When the conversations turns towards individuals' beliefs and belief systems, it becomes personal and can be misconstrued as hate. Peace to everyone. And you know, Rakufu going to say, yes, African is the most direct geographic and ancestral designation for people whose forebears were taken from the continent of Africa to the Americas during the transatlantic slave trade, or through the Atlantic slave trade. Lonzo said, I agree, bub. We all in this shit, and everybody ain't help get water out the boat. And I don't expect everyone to help. Rakufu said, man, before labels such as Black, Negro, Colored, or African American became common in the United States, the ancestors of these communities identified primarily with their own specific nation. Kimberly said, man, don't fear the one who kills the earthly body. Kimberly Mitchell says, don't fear the one who kills the earthly body. Fear the one who kills the soul, the one who gets the spirit, the one who gets their spirits move, the ones who gets their spirits right, move on to run the next life. Fears the one who kills the spirit. All right. Oh shit, Rakufu, my bad. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Rakufu. I thought you were through. Before labels such as Black, Negro, Colored, or African American became common in the United States, the ancestors of these communities identified primarily with their own specific nation, own specific nations, all right, and ethnic groups such as Kingdom of Dahomey, Oyo Empire, the Kingdom of Congo, and many others. In their broadest sense, they were all Africans. A concise scholarly statement would be, yeah, Ra, this is Londo saying, yeah, Ra, but those Blacks were not African, and the European knew it, and the Africans damn sure knew it. Think about what if that's true. Raku say, a concise scholarly statement would be, racial nomenclature such as Negro and Black, the most fundamental and geographically accurate designation for the ancestors of Africa, African descendant peoples in the Americas, was African, denoting their origin, on the continent of Africa. All right. Fat Rat said, man, the sun rises on the just as well as the unjust, bub. The sun is killing some of us and healing others. This is a true statement. Yeah, the sun does rise on the just and the unjust, you know, and the sun does kill a lot of others more than do others, you know. But see, again, I have no, my thing is this, bro. I take no offense to anybody's beliefs, man. You know, so when I talk to a lot of people, man, Muslims, Christians, Israelites, Jews, you know, I know a few white people, I know a few Jews, you know what I mean? But when I talk to them, I don't take personal, especially then when they want to, quote scripture or, certain verses, Quran, Bible, tomorrow. I don't care about none of that, man. That's for them. I don't think that apply to me. You know what I mean? So in other words, my truths are my truths. You know what I mean? Your truths don't mean they're my truths. You know what I mean? Again, what you eat does not make me shit. It can't. Who you fuck don't make me come. You know? And this is the thing I'm trying to impart to brothers and sisters. I have no issues with none of what you guys believe in. That's for y'all. That's for y'all. That's fine, you know? And again, you gotta take none of what I say, man, as truth. None of it. If I'm good with it, that's what matters to me. That's what matters to me. But I'm gonna tell you what's better. If we could be good just on the basis of the fact that, man, we got a fucking fight that we're gonna have to fight together without all this other shit, these outside distractions and shit, because to me, that's all they are. That's my opinion. That's all they are. You know, a lot of other stuff, man. A lot of other stuff. You know, they ain't doing nobody no good, you know. But when a lot of us get off our high horses and decide to just come at each other as brothers and sisters, as Black American, African American, FBA, I don't give a fuck what you label. I don't care, you know. I care that, okay, whatever our differences are, we know how to put that shit to the side so we can go to fucking war, man. Let's get this shit done. Who's capable of leading? Okay, lead me, but don't lead me with your, I don't need that. Give me the script on the battlefield, man. My armor ain't got to be the Bible, the Quran, or the Talmud. It ain't got to be none of that. You want to train me in war? Give me that. I don't need nothing else. And I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that, bro. I just hope everybody could be fine with everybody's get down, man. But let's be able to compartmentalize the shit so that we can get to the situation at hand. And if these things, religions, beliefs, and all this other stuff is what's stopping us, we in fucking trouble. I say, I don't have probably, man, I can put to the fact that I don't believe in none of that shit to the side. I ain't got to never mention it again. Now, what we finna do? That's my thing. What we, I don't care about that shit, man. You know, respectfully, I don't. You know, whatever the way that motherfucker rises and sets, one thing I know, man, throughout the day, we getting fucked. That's what I do know. I don't care about nothing else. I want to care about stop getting fucked. You know? I've done everything I was supposed to do here. We got our shit. It's ours. Take care of our family. We do all that. We don't like to think we're ready. We're ready. All that other shit don't matter, man. You know, I want to do work with the people. I don't want to have to be associated with nothing and nobody else where it's a prerequisite for me to fuck with you. That I got to be this, I got to be that, man, to get this shit done. I ain't with none of that, bro. I'm with blackness, Africanness, FBA-ness. I don't give a damn. Let's go. Yeah, that's me, you know. And again, respectfully, man, that go to everybody. You know, I've been through the same shit. We done been through this shit, Fat Rat. We been through this shit. Been through this shit, man. You know, I got loved ones who, you know that, right? love them, respect them. You know? And when we talk, we talk about what we talk about. Man, how do we get over this shit? You know? And I got a few, man, that, you know, they'll get to, you know, hit me with the Quran. They, you know, I don't say, man, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't do that. I don't do it. I have a problem with it. In fact, you might say something that, no, that sounds good. Now, how can I utilize that without utilizing the whole thing? You know what I mean? That's how I tend to think, you know. But that's not my get down, bro. You know, my get down, man, is, like I said, is what I trust. You know, that works for me. You know what I mean? Like, Islam works for you. That was your decision. That was your decision, you know? It's the brother's decision, Alonzo. It's the sisters, Kimberly, the sister Lisa, and everybody else. Pope's decision to embrace what you guys embrace, what you believe, what you trust, what you live by. That's your decision. I'm not asking nobody to get that up. And no one should ask me or, you know, hey, man, you can't press me about none of that. I don't care about none of that, you know. Just ask me, am I down? Am I ready? I can show you better than I can tell you. That's what I'm with. I ain't with nothing else, man. You know, that's some real shit. You know, so I kind of get a kick out of it because it's not that serious with me. You know, again, I got all kind of questions, but that's neither here nor there. That ain't got nothing to do with the fuck I know the real fight is about. To me. So again, man, the sun can rise and set on, and that's what it do. On all peoples, that's what it do. And while it's going through that process, most of us, not all peoples, is getting fucked. I got a problem with that. Danny, I would say, man, I feel you. I feel you and hear you loud and clear on that. It's just another problem with division. That's it. That's it. And some of us can't see past that. You know, it got to be, it's like it always has to be mentioned that, hey, man, unless you get with this or you accept it, you know, it ain't, oh, man, wait a minute, man, that ain't for everybody, man. That ain't for everybody, you know, and you know, it in ignorance or not, you know, is that what's keeping us apart though? If that's the case, man, shit, we fucked. Like I said, Kufu says historically, people did not usually use African as their only self-identifier while living in Africa. They were often identified with their language, kingdom, clan, or a nation, but from an ancestral and historical perspective. All right. Africans is the outreaching or the overarching and most accurate continental term. All right. DYOG 954 show said, man, I can no longer subscribe to oppressors, slave traders, human traffickers, religions. They're not by us. And we've seen by the results how for us they've been. They breed some division. They breed much division. Much. And again, man, I'm not in this, man, to berate or talk about historically what was done to us by who. I don't, damn, it happened. I just know as a result of any of that, if all of that, here we are. This is the position we're in. I don't care about none of that other stuff, man. I just don't. You know, I mean that, and I mean to say that respectfully. Lonzo said, yes, they were put on boats in West Africa, but those same people came from Israel and Iraq area. That's where you need to do more research. Anyway, Al said, Fat Rat said, man, Al, I would challenge you to show me anything moving like that. Anything Okay, what did Al say that makes you say that? I missed something here. Let me go back. What did Al say? Okay. Okay, you say I agree, Bub. When the conversation turns towards individual beliefs and belief systems, it becomes personal and can be misconstrued as hate. Peace to everyone. Is that what you were referring to, Ferret? I don't know. And Ferret said, I would challenge you to show me anything moving like that. Anything. Okay. Poke say, man, I hear you, Bub. I hear you, Bub. You spoke on fear. I feared my grandma when I did wrong because I respected her, but I knew my whooping came out of love. We like to say we don't fear man because there's no respect between the two. But God, who is spirit, I fear because all these beautiful souls that I know come from. Where you at, Al? I mean, okay. Damn, did you finish? Well, maybe I didn't read it correctly, bro. All right, my bad. You say, I hear you, Bub. You spoke on fear. I feared my grandma when I did wrong because I respected her, but I knew my whooping came out of love. We like to say we don't fear man because there's no respect between the two. But God, who is spirit, I fear because of all these beautiful souls that I know come from. Okay. Alonzo said, man, those blacks put on slave ships to Africa with blood related to the house of Israel and Judah. Research it, bro. All right. Henry Sadello said, man, they are masters of manipulation. Alonzo said, Bub running late tonight. He filling the convo. Oh, shit, man. Now that I'm about to make, man, Fat Rat got me up in here, man. Fuck with me. No, man. Yeah, I just lost track of time. I had one more thing to show, man, and shit. We got caught up, man. I still want to show this. Let's see. Let's show this right quick, and we're going to call it a night, y'all. Oh, shit. My bad. All right, check this one out.
Once you realize the system was built to use you and not serve you, that's when things start to get interesting. Check this out.
The system wasn't built for you to win. You went to school to memorize facts you never use. You were trained to raise your hand, wait your turn, and follow instructions. Then they told you, get a job, work 40 hours a week, give half of it to tax, retire at 67 if you're lucky. That's not a life. That's a script. And most people don't question it because they're too tired from living it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it.
And unsee it.
That's when you realize freedom was never going to be handed to you. You have to build it. And that's why I teach digital products, because ownership is the only way out. No boss, no begging, no clocking. You move different when you know the system was never designed to serve you. It was designed to use you. Break the script or stay stuck in it.
If you want to learn.
There you go. All right, I want to drop that in there. Yeah. Man, you move different. Real spit, man. Okay. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get ready to cut out, man. All right. Yeah, this thing going, man. Shit. This be all night. I'll be 10 o'clock, man. I'll be 10 o'clock. Okay, Farrah crazy though. Farrah pushing, man. I ain't mad at you, homie. You pushing. All right, all right, I want to drop this and I'm out the way, man. Fat Rat said, one thing about us, we work together with all of our people who are willing to work together because together is good. But we have to be willing to move forward with or without the masses. Pope said, man, loving on your people shouldn't hurt this much, bub. Man, man, you don't understand the love I feel for my people, man. It made me forget about a lot of the hurt. The only time I think about hurt, man, is the way we being treated, man. That shit, it hurts to think about that shit. It hurts to think about the position we in, what we confronted with. It hurts to see the division amongst the people. But then I see the people. I see past the division. I see the people, man. I feel better. You know, I feel energized. You know, I feel that energy. That's what I feel. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's what it is for me. I see you, James. I see you, bro. Fat Rat said, man, like I said before, I don't really talk religion in the context of it being something that was added to me that I wasn't born with. I don't do religion like that, bub. You're going to say, Fat Rat, every single week on Tuesday, we can be found on a street corner near you with the only Black-owned, internationally distributed newspaper that lays out our action plan and course of action. But because we follow so many disinformation campaigns that were levied to assure we remain disconnected, we have to ask when we should already know. But Al asks, would I recommend he follow Farrakhan or join the nation? So I answered with that challenge. Okay. I'll say respectfully, Fat Rat, that's not a challenge at all. I'm moving like that. I follow no man and definitely no religion. It serves no purpose in my life and never will. All right, Lisa Moore say black first. Okay. James say, Lisa Moore, appreciate you, queen. Thank you. Have a beautiful week. Nothing but love and respect to you and yours. One. Farrah said, all right, for sure. Next time you stop at a red light, remember, if you stop, you follow the man. Farrah. You ain't gonna change tonight, Farrah. LOL, much love, bro. All right. You got to smile out of me with that one, bro. All right. Fat Rat, I'll say Fat Rat Playboy. I didn't ask if I should follow Farrakhan to join the nation. I ask if we as Black people. All right. Good night. Peace and love, man, to the RGC family. Until we meet again, stay vigilant, stay safe, you know, stay loving self. Stay loving self first, you know. To some of us, that might be hard to digest, to do. But stay loving self. And I trust firmly that in that, as a result of that, and you're gonna love the brother, man, regardless, especially, man, you're gonna love the brothers and the sisters, man, but especially those who love themselves as well. That's just the way that I think that works, man. Take care of yourselves tonight, man. All right. If you stop at a red light, man, watch who the fuck you falling behind, man. Be careful. Be vigilant, as the brother said, man. All right. You guys take care of yourselves and each other. All right. You are, you have been, and you will be under the groove. Power is in the people, man. Power is in the people. One love, y'all. Black first.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hearst, the right of future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere. Where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transform suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the Sarge, this is once a less than. At this hats and Mercedes, please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive, watch the applause for pose. Need your data, talks and constantly problem when the wet just wanna build the season big. Now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the times, pleading walking soft the main. Make it on the fans, turn and neck and love the durn. Suffering like a kisher. You were grown to preaching up on side as each alone, bitch on the shit and untrue seeing vets someone the very inch on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bound of in. You wait something for the marker, make to keep him through the trumpets on the boards to the singer land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break your generosity for the heat and let the blessed be. It's every time we keep a spawn.